Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you my progress and process on how I made Herlock Sholmes from Ace Attorney. So for this one, it's actually a pretty hefty build because I actually made everything on this outfit. So I actually made the vest, the pants, the cape, the jacket, and the hat. For some of the 3D accessory part like the goggles, it's actually going to be made in printed by Insanity Cosplay because that's one thing I don't know how to figure out or work with, and they had the time to help me out to make that, so thank you so much for that. I'll put that aside and take care, and that was taken care of later. But yeah, so I actually made 2 sets for this costume because I actually have 2 different clients. You can see I have like a lot of notes going on because there's actually a lot to figure out. There's a lot of like weird intricate designs and some of the belt accessories, but in the end it turned out really well, and I'm actually really proud of this build. It actually took like a while to figure out, but yeah, some details here and whatnot. Anyways, we'll just jump straight into how I built this. So these are the 2 fabrics I'll be using for Herlock Sholmes. A really nice cotton poly twill I got right here. It was such a nice fabric to match with for the vest and the pants. I'm glad I got that. I'll be making 2 outfits total because it'll be for 2 different people, and I had a really hard time finding something for the coat, the hat, and the cape because it's either I got the right color but it's not the right type of fabric, or vice versa. So I ended up choosing the fabric I want. It's slightly lighter than the actual shade, so what I'm gonna do is, you know, what else we're gonna do? We're gonna go to dyeing the fabric. But yeah, I'll start on it. I'm gonna build it from inside out, and so I'm gonna start with the pants and the vest and then work my way out to the coat and hat and all the other stuff that's hanging around him, because that man, no, God knows, like, has unquestionable things on him. Let's put this to extra heavy. Yeah. Alright, so here's the copy of the commercial pattern that I just traced and cut out. I'm gonna go ahead and take that and cut it out on this fabric, which is gonna be my mock-up, and I'll be adjusting the size to the right measurement since I have 2 to make for the costume, because 2 for different people. I'm gonna have to do probably 2 different mock-ups, we'll see. But basically, I'm gonna take this and cut it out, fit it, and then start working on the design that's on the vest. And then after that, I'll probably just have to transfer it to a new paper to make a new pattern for that, because this is just the base for it. So I'm going to be finalizing everything on the mock-up and then having that cut out, and then I can use that as my finalized official for the vest. So far for one of the first vests, I had to do a few adjustments to it. I have to take up the length a bit. It was actually too long. And next up, I am probably going to have to take it in a bit because it's also too wide on the front chest area. I need to take in the dart first, but then I'll go ahead and connect it back and see how that looks. But so far the length looks right, and I figure out how I need to modify this, so hopefully that works out. So I thought I was having some fitting issue with the pattern, but it's actually just a seam allowance. I never really understand why commercial patterns has such huge seam allowance. Usually for like necklines and a long way like this, it's like a 1/4 of an inch, and the rest is like 1/2 an inch. But for this one, for most like pattern commercial ones I've used, the seam allowance is either 3/4, and the collar is 1/2 an inch. Otherwise, like, it wasn't fitting well, so I had to look carefully, and yeah, the seam allowances are pretty big, so that's why I usually just want to make sure and check. Otherwise, like, the pattern just might come out much bigger than it looks. But so far, fits alright. I marked everything I need. Hopefully this is all I need. So as you all know, I used this as my base pattern for the vest. I spent hours modifying it and doing mock-up to make it look like the right silhouette and everything, and I finally finished. And as I was putting this away, I found this hidden in the corner in the back of my shelf, which, you know, has everything I need to the original vest, and I didn't need to spend all those time modifying for no reason. Let's just go. I'm just gonna pretend this wasn't there. It's been quite a few hours, but I finally got the mock-up done. I tested out the collar. I had to do some modification on it, and I totally forgot there was like it's more triangular on the bottom instead of like a straight cut. So I went ahead and fixed that as well, along with an opening for the back of the bottom of the vest as well. So all looks good. Probably can go ahead and put that on the final pattern and work out the little diamond designs that he has in front as well. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So time for the crazy part where I'm doing a lot of adjustment, mostly because I have to incorporate the front design on, which is this thingy-mabob right here. So I'm gonna make one side normal, like just straight down flat, and then on the other side is where it crosses over, where it folds over. I'm gonna do the whole diamond shenanigan things going on, which is why you're seeing all these multiple color, because I have to adjust the length of it just to make sure that the diamonds and the cutout will be even. This is for the my other client, so they're a bit on the small side, so I have to shrink the vest by a lot. And then when I get to my other friend, I have to make a whole new pattern and make sure everything fits on their size for that. So I'm gonna be playing around with the size of the diamonds for a bit. But I also found this really neat buttons. Originally I thought about getting them 3D printed because I want to get them like very close to it, but that's gonna take time and more labor costs. So I found these buttons. If it focus, these buttons that actually looks just is really similar to it. It has like the cross designs and everything onto it. Are you gonna focus for me? No? These are the buttons I'll be using. It's actually pretty close in the shapes and terms of what he has here. So I'll be going with that. I actually really like it. It's actually really nice, and I want it to be a functional button, close on and off. Originally, if I was going to do the 3D printed, these are just going to be, you know, for display, and the structure of the vest on the inside will be snaps to take on and off. So go ahead and finish that up, and then I have to work on the welts, and then the back belt, and then the arrow part. I can't really see it because of how the printing is, but on the back of the belt, he has this arrow design on it, but I'm still going to make it a functional adjustable belt on the back for the vest because, you know, most vests has that belt. So here I have a strip of it, and what am I going to do is just basically sew down the arrow part, the triangular part right here, down onto the vest, and then the middle will still be adjustable with the buckles and everything. So that's what I'll be doing for the back of his. I also just did the gear design that's on the armhole, and this is actually taking quite a while than I thought, and I'm only on the first vest. I still have to do the other one for the other person, and since they're a different size, it's also a different modification and making sure everything lines up. So yeah, this is what goes into like customized pattern and custom made order stuff. Like, it's a lot of work, and a lot of people don't really know that, why like labors are so intense. Like, I would spend like hours just doing this alone, and then after that I still have to like cut everything out, and sometimes that can take a while because there's multiple parts, and then sewing it together, adding in the details. Alright, so it's been a full day and two I actually don't know. I stopped cutting at some point and then I got back to cutting after. It was a lot to put everything together. There's two pals because, you know, two vests, and there's a huge size difference in both of them, so I had to spend each of time doing like fixing and readjusting everything. But they're all cut out, the lining, the interfacing, all the appliques and the fabric, so now I can finally start putting it together. It's gonna be a lot of darts as well because I have to put the darts in the lining and the actual fabric. So I'm gonna go ahead and start pinning stuff together and start sewing it, and yeah, so let's go from there. So I have both the vest here almost ready and done. I'm just waiting on the buckles to come so I can put the buckles on the back. I'm just gonna sew on the button next. I just did the buttonholes. They kind of gave me a bit of a trouble knot. Not because of the pattern or anything or the fitting, but the lining, this lining I got was just really slippery. It warps a lot, and it was, even though like I made sure to lay it out properly, I still cut it out, and some parts were either like crooked or it just slipped while I was cutting, so I had to do a lot of readjusting and basically evened everything out to match with the outer fabric. Otherwise it's gonna pull on it and make the whole thing look janky and just uneven. So I spent a lot of time readjusting that, but they're here. I'm just gonna give it some good press. Here are the satin stitching on the sleeve. That looks like a gear. Why are you not focusing? Yeah, okay. And then you get the front diamond here, which I added the buttonholes, and then the button's gonna go on. You get some fake welt pockets here, which I call the disappointing pockets because they look like real pockets, they open like real pockets, but they don't have like the functionality of a real pockets, only because I only made it so it's enough to have room just to like slip in like those accessories or like those pocket watch chain thing that he has. So they're not real functional pockets, but I'll be adding that to the pants, so the pants will have real pockets at least. Yeah, so I'm almost done with it. I'm gonna go ahead and add on the buttons. Alrighty, so the vest is mostly done. I just need to sew close the opening in the lining, which I used to flip everything out, but I added on the welt buckles on the back of the vest, the buttons, and yeah, so it's all done. I can wrap up the last finishing stitches I need to it, and then I can move on to the pants. I just want to say the size difference in these vests are just really cute. It looks like I'm making a matching vest for like a daddy and a son. So I went ahead and started on the pants. I'm actually using this commercial pattern right here that has the coat that I'm planning to use, but also included a pair of pants in there, which is really nice. So I went ahead and traced all that out, did two sizes because I'm making two of them for two different people. So the next thing I need to do right now is alter and basically adjust the size measurement to that person. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. The pants is actually quite long on this one, so I'm gonna have a lot to shorten. And yeah, so this is the pattern right here. This is the original pattern I traced. I'm gonna go ahead and do stuff to this now and make it the pattern I want it to be. So I have most of the pants all sewn together. I have these two, the front and back already sewn together. I just need to attach both of them together, but before that I need to attach the fly and the front zipper and then the waistband. But before all that, I have the side slit of the pants right here, which has an opening, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I already sewn it together, so I have the opening slit right here. I'm gonna go ahead and add the bias tape so it has that opening enclosed, and then I'm gonna add the snap so they can actually unsnap snap it if they want. So I'm just gonna try my best to make it look like this. So I made these pants pocket very deep and they can fit almost anything. If you're on the go and you want boba but you have no hands to hold them, these pocket fits a whole entire cup just perfectly. Don't forget your bottle of lotion as well. Get in there. Yeah, so that fits. Oh, and if you need some Windex and some Febreze and a bottle of hand sanitizer while you're at it, there you go. Everything all in one pocket. So here we have the pants. It's almost done. I just gotta add in some last details. I finished sewing on the fly and the zipper and the waistband. What took a while was hand stitching the inside of the waistband because I always like to hand stitch finishing like hems and binding like that, and if I need to, I'll go ahead and machine stitch it after base stitching by hand sewing on the inside. So that's almost finished right there. And yeah, I just need to add in like the hooks and eyes for the closure on the top of the waistband. And then for the bottom hem, I'm just going to be adding snaps for the closure so it's detachable. You can snap it on and off. And then the studs will be on the outside like the reference picture. So it's going to be similar to something like this on the vest because there'll be like these gold studs. But yeah, so we'll get to that and I'll be finished soon. Oh well, I lied. I still have to add in like what's it called, the loops, yeah, the belt loops for these pants because he has like some unique looking design from the front and then probably some regular ones in the back. So I'll figure those out after I put on these studs and whatnot. Alright, so both of the pants are complete. I'm all done with it. Mostly he has like these little knickknacks on him. They're the D-ring lobster clasps, so there's probably gonna like be a gold chain that hangs just like on his reference, and that's about it. I added the buttons for the closure for the front of the waistband, and here he has the open slit for the pants. That's the studs on the outside, and this is detachable so it can open with the snaps. This actually took a while to sew only because this part's actually pretty thick, so I had to make sure I punctured through all the threads and whatnot. But yeah, the pants are done. You get the papa and the sun pants. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on probably to the outerwear, which is the hat, the cape, and the coat. So finding the color to match most of his outfits was actually a little bit difficult. I found everything for the pants and the vest, but finding the right shade for the actual coat was actually really hard, and the closest I can find was this khaki one, but it's actually a little bit too light, so I think I'm gonna have to do more dyeing. So I found this really nice color shade that matches with his on the RIT website, where they have all these instructions and formulas if you're looking for like certain colors you want to do, and this is the color I want to do, which is a ground nutmeg. And I'm gonna need a few bottles because I'm gonna split the dye batch into two sections since I'm making two parts. I think I have too much to fit into one pot anyways, and I don't want to like risk any kind of clotting and where the dye isn't mixed evenly. So I'm gonna go ahead and split the quantities into two and probably just have to do two separate dyes, one each for the people I'm making for. So each of the formulas require a bottle, a full bottle, 1 cup, and usually one bottle is 8 ounces, so that's about a cup. So I'm gonna need 2 or 3 bottles of that. Because it's only 3 bottles of that, and the rest is just 1 bottle because it's just only half a cup and 1 bottle is enough. And then this is only 2 tablespoons. So I'm gonna go ahead and order those. So while I'm waiting on the fabric to dry up after dyeing, I'm gonna go ahead and start working on the pattern for the coat and the cape, which I'll be using a commercial pattern, so I'm gonna be doing a lot of modifying. It's gonna be probably the fastest thing for me. I found something exactly similar to the jacket, so I'll go ahead and start tracing out the pattern, cutting it out, and then after I do a mock-up, I'm gonna start making alteration and changes to match whatever I need. So I'm gonna have to figure out a lot because mainly it's a little clutter fest like on the shoulder here, so I'm trying to figure out how the cape is connected. Are these part of the cape or is it part of the jacket? So a lot to break down and figure out, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. So over here we have swatches that I've done. This is the original. These are all the different shades that I worked through. It took a bit to work with the formula only because I wanted to be the right shade. It was too dark initially and then it was too light. But after I found out the mixture, I went ahead and did that. And voila, and this is what we have here. Yes, it took about 13 bottles to got all the color and dye done, only because I had to separate the segment of the dye, just because the first time I did it in 2, but the problem was my pot wasn't big enough, and so when I tried to mix the fabric, it wasn't distributed evenly, so there was like a lot of fades, so I had to do that again, meaning I had to buy the right amount of bottles to dye everything 4 times, which is why there's so much back there. But I got the color I need. I am very happy how it turns out. Hopefully I don't mess up. Fingers crossed. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut all the pieces. I got the mock-up all there, so I'm gonna go ahead and take that apart and start modifying my final pattern and start on the coat, cape, and hat. I just finished attaching the lining portion onto the jacket, so it's already sewn together. Mostly just need to do now is sew the bottom part and attach the slit, so it's going to be hand sewing here from on and out. I'm going to go ahead and just iron everything out, making sure it lays nice and flat before I finalize the stitching, maybe add a little couple more of top stitching, and then after that I can start making the accessory, the belt accessory that goes on the neck and the sleeve wrist. And I think that's all for this one. I'm probably missing a couple more stuff, but I'll take a look at it again after I do what I need to do. It's looking like a chocolate mocha. I kind of really like the color combination of this and this brown here. So I finally got all the buttons and buttonhole done for the coat. All the little belt loops are in. I just need to add like a couple more of these little studs that are like on these little belt loops. But after that, I'm just gonna go ahead and make the belt, which I bought a pleather for. So there's one for the neck and the sleeves, and then there's gonna be a belt right here. I think I accidentally centered this part a little too. It's not supposed to be in between these, but I wasn't paying attention. But I still can have the belt. It will still sit like exactly right there, which is good. So hopefully it still looks good. Gonna go ahead and do that, and I think that's it, or hopefully yeah, that's it for the jacket, and I can start on the cape part. So I already have all the strips of the belt cut out from this dark brown pleather here. So all next I'm going to do is be attaching the buckle piece, the belt stopper, and the eyelet on it. So I'm going to go ahead and start attaching those so I can put them one on the collar, the sleeve, and then there's one that's going to be a little bit bigger. It's going to be for the center belt, which I'll be modifying the belt stopper for that. The buckle's like a little slider, and I have to go ahead and paint that gold, but we'll go ahead and work on the accessories. So I am about done putting on the accessory parts. I overlooked it and thought that it was actually all pleather for both the collar and the sleeves, but it's actually just the pleather on the sleeve part, and then the top part is actually the same fabric as the jacket. So went ahead and made that part. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on the grommets, and after that I'll be all finished with it. So I went ahead and spray painted these buckle goats because Herlock has two, one on the inside and one on the outside of the coat. The wind picked up while I was spray painting these, and I ate like a face load of metallic spray paint. This is why you wear the mask. So I had a great time washing those off. So next up, what I have left to do is I'm gonna use my Cricut machine to cut out the clover part, because he has like the clover design on the middle of the buckle. I'm just using a normal adhesive one for this one since I'm not pressing it on any fabric or sort. So I'm just gonna stick it on, and after that I just need to work on the belt part and then attach it on. The belt also has like a bunch of eyelets I need to attach, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that next. Also for the buckles, I had to do some plastic dip spray primer on it, but only because it's metal and the metallic spray paint like peeled off right away when I sprayed on it, so it wouldn't stick. So I did some plastic dip, and so this is the result of it. Alright, so the buckles are all painted and finished, so now I'm going to go ahead and attach the belt part to the buckles and then start adding the eyelet to it. So the inside for the pants is actually a black one and it has eyelet, like only one row, but for the outer one of the coat it actually has 2 rows of eyelet, so I'm going to go ahead and work on those next.
2,000 years later.
I'm just gonna let these hang here for now as I'm finishing up some things. So the black one right here goes inside the pants, the inside, and this one right here goes in the outer coat. So originally I bought a full belt for this, which comes with the nylon strap, but it was actually too thick for me to puncture the eyelet through, so I decided to just take out the buckles and just make a new belt for it. So that's here right now. So it's actually pretty nice. It's made out of cotton twill, and I just put the inside with the heavy interfacing, so it actually has a good thickness support to it, so it works for the belt. And then there's this one, which is brown. You can't really see in the lighting right here, but this is like dark brown, and this goes on the outside. Mainly they took a while because I had to put all the grommets in by hand. I had to puncture all the holes and then hammer all of them in, so it took I think like a couple hours just to do both of these, especially this one because it has a lot, and then they're only for decorative purpose. So yeah, those are the belts, but they're all done. I'm gonna go ahead and work on the hat next and put together the goggle, and I think that's it for this one for now, hopefully, because every time I say that that's it for now, there's always something else that comes up, and I really hope there isn't. I did the patterns for the hat a while ago before I started on the coat, so I have everything already. I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting everything out. The front, it has like a front and back rim, and also a flap on the side as well, as you can see right here. It goes in front. I'm trying to make the front flap heavy as possible, or not heavy as possible, but at least durable enough to support the goggle, which is why I'm glad the goggle is made of plastic, so that it's lightweight, it doesn't weigh down the hat. So I'm using a really thick interfacing for that. There's one for the front and back, and then cutting out all the pieces for the hat, and then adding on all the little accessories and notions to it. And I'm just waiting on another buckles to come because I need a buckle in order to add it on the strap to keep the goggles on. So that's pretty much so far for the hat, so we're gonna go ahead and work on that. Also, just a little fun fact on how I actually patterned the hat out is that I actually used the silhouette of my iron. I basically just traced the plate and modified it from there. Usually it's a 6 panel is usually enough to make a full circumference of the hat, and then from there on I just modify the curve and just to make the size fit and all. But yeah, that's my trick I've been using it for quite a while to make like certain barrettes, like my Sakura barrettes and a lot of other hats in the past actually, because if you look at like other, like if you looked up like patterns for these sorts of hat, like the caps, it's actually a very similar shape, and it just kind of saves me the trouble of actually like drafting out, so I use this as a base. So yeah, that little fun fact. Alright, so my first hat is done. I sewn everything together. It's lined inside out. If I can get it off this head, it's lined inside out with the same fabric. For the outside, I used some more thicker inner facing, and then for the lining on the inside where I doubled it, I did more of like a very lightweight inner facing, just because I still want this to have like a sturdy structure, so it can support the goggle here. And then the rim of the hat, I used the very thick inner facing one so that it can support basically everything. And then the flaps here are just cut out from brown pleather, and then I attached on the gold stud that's like on the rest of the outfit that you see. So it's attached on through the inside. It's not through the lining, but it's just like, you know, through the first layer, just so it holds there. And it has a little cute little decor of this little tab and a little button on top. So hat's all done. I'm working on assembling the goggles together right now, so there's gonna be a little strap in the middle of the goggles, and then after that there's another strap that goes around it, which is what's gonna go around the hat. I'm gonna be working on that next. I'm just attaching a few things right now because the pieces came in separate parts, so I'm just assembling that right now. The hat's also bigger than like most normal hat, only because I have to take in consideration that they'll be wearing a wig, so the circumference is actually gonna change by like a couple inches, so the head's gonna be bigger, just so that, you know, the hat can actually fit on the wig, because I actually did have problems in the past with certain hats like being too small. I couldn't fit on my head because they're made for like your head normally, and you know, adding an extra wig on top of like, you know, your hair underneath, it's just too big to fit under the hat. So yeah, so this one's made to fit my first client's head, and then the second one I'll have to measure it out and basically make that the same circumference for their head, including the wig measurement on it as well. And with that, I am all done with the hat, and it turned out pretty nice. I actually really like it. So the goggle is held up on the hat by the straps and these little flaps here. The flaps is hold on to with these studs, so you just basically ring it around with the straps, and then it has this buckle here. It's adjustable, so they can either make it tight or loose depending on how they want it on their head. And yeah, but that's basically it. I actually really like these goggles, how it turned out. Thank you so much, icosplayinsanity, for making them for me. I will link her portfolio, social media stuff below, so you can check out the rest of their work. And all these are just all the belts that I pulled out from the jacket and his whole entire outfit. This man has much more buckles than he needs, but everything's all done. I think they are. I'm gonna go ahead and check out, see what else I have left or if I'm missing anything, and that should be a wrap for the first one. And then I'll go ahead and hit on the second outfit later.
A few inches later.
So I just finished with the second set for another person. I just got this one back that my other friend previously wore because I need to do a little adjustment, mostly adding snaps on the front collar for the cape, because the cape actually does slide off from time to time. So good to know that. So I went ahead and added snaps for both of the capes. But yeah, the second set is done. I just wanted to see the size comparison, which is actually really cute. It's just like a son, yeah, a father and son matching jacket cape, which is really cute. But yeah, everything is all done for him. I'm super happy. I actually took quite a long time to figure everything out because there's actually a lot of knickknacks and stuff to it, little accessories like little chains, detail, little studs, belts buckle, and then putting together the hat. I think everything was okay. I'm pretty sure I pulled hair on a lot of parts, but since it's done now, I'm totally feeling relieved. The coat is what took the longest because the lining, the button placement, all the loops, and yeah, it has a lot of loops on it. But yeah, I'm wrapping up this this whole entire project now. I think I have a couple requests for more of these, but we'll see. But other than that, like, this video is yeah, this vlog is done for this part. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching this progress.